Gender bias in Nigerian media coverage remains a persistent challenge, shaping public perceptions of women and influencing their participation in politics, business, and public life. Despite progress in gender advocacy and the growing visibility of women in leadership, many media narratives still reflect deep-rooted societal stereotypes. From underrepresentation in news stories to framing women primarily through personal or emotional lenses, the imbalance in coverage raises important questions about fairness, representation, and the role of journalism in promoting equality. Historically, Nigerian media has mirrored the patriarchal structure of society. During the colonial and early post-independence periods, public discourse and political reporting were largely dominated by men, although trailblazers such as Margaret, Ekpo, and Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti challenged gender barriers in politics and activism. Media attention remained disproportionately focused on male leaders. Scholars examining Nigerian newspapers have long observed that women are frequently visible as images or symbolic figures, but less present as authoritative voices on national issues. In many cases, women are seen but not heard, appearing less often as experts, analysts, or decision makers in news reports. Recent data highlights the scale of the imbalance. Research linked to the Global Media Monitoring Project indicates that only about 16% of news subjects in political and government stories in Nigeria are women, compared with 84% who are men. This disparity extends to newsroom leadership itself. A 2024 report on Nigerian media organizations found that women occupy just 4.6% of leadership roles in print media and 5.5% in online news platforms, underscoring structural barriers that shape editorial priorities and perspectives. When women are absent from decision-making roles in newsrooms, the diversity of viewpoints reflected in news reporting is often limited. Current events continue to reveal how gender narratives influence media framing. Coverage surrounding allegations made by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan against Senate President Godswill Akpabio in 2025 ignited nationwide debate about sexism in Nigerian politics and the intense public scrutiny faced by female leaders. Much of the media discussion focused not only on the allegations themselves, but also on the senator's character, personal life, and demeanor, an approach critics argue is rarely applied to male politicians. The episode highlighted how media narratives can reinforce social biases and discourage women from participating fully in public life. However, the conversation about gender bias in Nigerian media is not entirely one-sided. Some scholars argue that bias may not always disadvantage women. Studies analyzing coverage of cabinet members during the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari found that certain newspapers quoted female ministers more frequently than their male counterparts in specific contexts. Supporters of this view suggest that increased advocacy for gender equality has encouraged journalists to consciously amplify female voices. Nevertheless, many observers contend that these isolated improvements do not outweigh broader patterns of stereotyping and marginalization. Women in Nigerian media stories are still more likely to be portrayed in relation to family roles, appearance, or controversy, rather than expertise or policy leadership. Such portrayals subtly shape public attitudes and reinforce assumptions about women's place in society. From a female perspective, the issue extends beyond representation. It concerns narrative power. Balanced storytelling requires recognizing women as complex actors in politics, economics, science, and culture. Expanding female leadership in newsrooms, encouraging gender-sensitive reporting, and promoting platforms that center women's perspectives are critical steps toward more equitable coverage. Ultimately, Nigerian media holds immense influence over how society perceives leadership, competence, and authority. Ensuring fair representation of women is not simply a matter of inclusion. It is essential for strengthening democratic discourse and accurately reflecting the realities of a nation where women constitute roughly half of the population. This is Mercy Kilani, reporting for Ask Nigeria.